This is a model of a Bureau of Reclamation Type 17 three-room house as shown in this book. This is one of the so-called Dingbat or shotgun houses built for what was known as the Boulder Canyon Project. These homes were designed at the Bureau headquarters in Denver, Colorado. Independent contractors bid for the opportunity to construct them. All materials were provided by the U.S. government, but contractors were responsible for their own labor and incidental materials. Bids for this home were received in Boulder City on March 28, 1932. This book contains a contract for 30 homes providing $9,053.10 for the entire job. That equates to $301.77 per home in 1932 dollars. It's about $7,000 today, enough to build a shed. For this compensation, contractors were expected to perform excavation, blasting and backfill, provide forms for concrete, perform framing, carpentry, lath and plaster, masonry, plumbing, electrical, siding and screening, roofing, drainage, trim, painting, and fit and finish. Testing and certification of occupancy was also his job. Given the testimony and oral history, one wonders how complete the work really was. Contractors were given 5 days to complete each home. Oral history says many were done in less than 2. They were originally scheduled to be torn down when the Hoover Dam was completed. They've lasted 100 years. The foundation was constructed of 4-inch by 6-inch redwood beams. Those beams rested on 17 concrete piers. Only 16 are shown here. Corner piers measured 24 inches by 24 inches by 9 inches deep. Intermediate piers were 15 inches by 15 inches by 9 inches deep. Foundation beams were blocked up with 6x6 redwood posts to level. Those posts were scab spiked to the beams and bolted to the cement piers with steel anchor plates. The brick chimney in the center rested on a 3-foot by 4-foot by 1-foot deep cement pad, which you don't see here. Resting on the 4x6 redwood beams are 2x6 floor joists on 16-inch centers. These 2x6s support both the main house and the screened-in porch, which would give you the support needed to close in the porch for additional square footage, which we see in many of these homes. 2 of the joists are doubled just below the bath and shower to support the cement shower pan and a bathtub full of water. You'll notice 1-inch by 3-inch cross bridging. This allows neighboring floor joists to share weight. Step on one joist and the 2 next to it will help bear the weight because of this bridging. And you'll notice an overlap in joists down the center. This is the backbone of the home. Additional bridging was added to this center line. You see additional chimney reinforcement here. Type 17 was called a 3-room house in the architectural document. It was 560 square feet with living room, kitchen, and bedroom. Evidently the bath was not considered a room. In this house you also got a shower, pantry, and a closet. The screened-in porch adds the potential for an additional 350 square feet. Your front entrance came through the porch and into the living room. Guests would need to walk through your bedroom to use the bathroom. What you don't see in this model is the electrical and plumbing. This house had 9 drop cord lights, 2 electrical outlets, and 1 high wattage range outlet for the stove. For indoor plumbing, you got an electric hot water heater, kitchen sink, lavatory, commode, bathtub, and shower. There were no outdoor spigots. Appliances included an electric stove. There was no refrigerator, no heater, no air conditioning, no washing machine. You could connect a potbelly to the brick chimney or heat the house with the electric stove. When it was 120 degrees out, you slept on the screened-in porch with wet rags in the windows. Room partitions were constructed of 2-inch by 3-inch studs on 24-inch centers. Flooring was 1-inch by 4-inch common fir planking with no subfloor, so you could literally look through the cracks to the grade below. Dirt, varmints, and creepy crawlers came right through those same cracks. Wallboard was 1/4-inch gypsum, except the plastered bathroom walls, all covered with a single coat of leaded white paint, which the contractor mixed himself from ingredients supplied by the U.S. government. A family of 5 or 6 could easily occupy this house. 560 square feet was a luxury in the middle of a depression where some folks were still living in tents, or their cars, or Hooverville shanty towns. Exterior walls were 2x4s on 24-inch centers, single-plated at the bottom and double-plated at the top. Studding was to be doubled around all window and door frames for strength. Diagonal 2-inch by 3-inch bridging was specified but probably rarely used. Siding was 1-inch by 6-inch common fir, painted white, down to the bottom of the floor joists. 1-inch by 6-inch redwood siding was used below the floor joists down to the grade. This siding was to be hand-nailed with 8-penny nails at every stud. The inside was 1/4-inch gypsum wallboard painted white as described earlier. Exterior walls are 8 feet high with no insulation except for the 4-inch air gap between siding and wallboard. The porch rail is 2.5 feet high and capped at 7.5 feet. This gives you enough headroom to close in this porch for that added 350 square feet, or use the porch for sleeping in summer months. Surprisingly, the roof rafters are simple 2x4s on 24-inch centers. There's no snow to support, so that probably works. Keep in mind that a 2x4 was standardized to actually measure 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches in 1964, so these 2x4s may have been the real thing, 2 inches by 4 inches. This is a traditional king post truss design. Each truss includes a king post in the center up to the ridge beam, 2 struts supporting the rafters on horizontal tie beams. This truss style is still used today. There's not much space up there for storage and no insulation. The roof is 1/4 pitch on the main structure and 1/9 pitch on the porch. The sheathing or decking is 1 inch by 8 inch common fir planking, double nailed with 10-penny nails at each rafter, all applied by hand, 1 nail at a time. Over the decking was asphalt composite shingles. There is no mention of tar paper, so the shingles probably went right over the 1x8 planking. But for your $301, you did get galvanized flashing around the chimney and maybe a little tar sealant. So that covers the construction of this marvelous little shotgun house. As you can see, these were remarkably well-designed and well-built houses for $301. It is no wonder they have lasted 100 years and have become the pride of Boulder City. Boulder City got a real value in these little dingbat houses. An enormous amount of manual labor was involved, as we covered earlier. It's a marvel that a house this complete could be built for so little cost. No computers, no calculators, no cell phone, internet, Google, or YouTube. Every stud and plank was measured and nailed by hand. Even the concrete and paint was mixed and applied on site. Contractors likely camped out at the job site and probably worked every daylight hour. They made about $4 an hour, so this was pretty good pay during the Depression. So that's your Bureau of Reclamation Type 17 3-room house.